The late evening glow spread across the quiet suburban street. A sleek black limousine, polished like obsidian, pulled to a slow stop outside a jewelry boutique. Inside, a billionaire CEO, Ethan Ward, known for his sharp business sense and colder-than-ice demeanor, adjusted his cufflinks and prepared to exit. His 8-year-old daughter, Leela, clutched her father's hand as they stepped out, the soft click of her shiny shoes echoing against the pavement. Suddenly a chaos. 3 masked men burst out from a side alley, weapons gleaming under the flickering street lamp. The robbers lunged toward Ethan, one grabbing Leela by the arm. "Don't scream, girlie," the thug hissed. Leela's terrified eyes locked onto her father's. Ethan froze, his protective instincts battling the reality of his helplessness. He wasn't a fighter. His power had always been measured in boardrooms, not in fists. But just when the situation seemed lost, a figure came out of nowhere. A broad-shouldered man in worn-out jeans and a faded jacket, his face shadowed, stepped between the attackers and the child. "Let her go," he growled. The robbers laughed until the stranger moved. What followed was a blur. His fists landed like hammers, his movements sharp, precise, practiced. Within seconds, 2 attackers lay groaning on the ground. The third tried to flee, but the stranger caught him, twisted his arm, and threw him against the limo hood. Leela stumbled backward into Ethan's arms. "Daddy, he broken bar, he saved me," she cried. But before Ethan could thank the man, before he could even ask his name, the stranger turned, his eyes filled with something Ethan recognized instantly: pain, and the desire to disappear. And then he was gone, just like that. No words, no thanks. He vanished into the night. Scene 2. The obsession begins. Back inside the limousine, Ethan held his daughter close. She kept whispering the same words over and over. "Daddy saved me and ran a broken bar." But Ethan knew better. That man, whoever he was, had saved his daughter. And something about the look in his eyes haunted Ethan. It wasn't just a rescuer running away. It was a man carrying secrets too heavy to be shared. The next day, Ethan canceled meetings worth millions. For the first time in years, business didn't matter. What mattered was him, the man who saved Leela. Ethan put his resources to work. Surveillance footage, street cameras. His team combed through every lead. But the stranger seemed like a ghost. No ID, no address, no trace. And yet, Leela never stopped talking about him. "Daddy, he was strong, like a superhero." Why did he run? Ethan had no answer, but he knew one thing: he had to find him. Scene 3. The ghost with a past. The man's name was Daniel Cole, a former soldier, a widowed single father, living quietly with his 7-year-old son, Mason, in a rundown apartment on the city's edge. Daniel didn't want to be found, not by anyone. He worked double shifts at a mechanic shop, his hands scarred from both battles and broken engines. His only priority was Mason, giving the boy life better than his own. The night of the rescue, just instinct, training kicking in. He hadn't meant to get involved, but when he saw a little girl's life in danger, he couldn't walk away. Still, he knew men like Ethan Ward, billionaires, powerful, the kind of people who didn't like debts they couldn't repay. So Daniel ran. Better to stay invisible. Scene 4. The tracks close in. 2 weeks later, Ethan's men finally found him, or rather Mason. It was the boy who gave him away. A bright-eyed kid walking home from school, carrying a patched-up backpack. Ethan's security team followed discreetly, watching as Mason skipped up the stairs of the old apartment complex. That evening, Ethan himself arrived. For a man used to commanding empires, knocking on a rusted apartment door felt foreign. The door opened. Daniel stood there, stunned, fists instinctively tightening. "You," he said flatly. "Yes," Ethan replied. "We need to talk." Daniel tried to shut the door, but Ethan placed his hand firmly against it. "My daughter owes you her life, and I don't leave debts unpaid. I don't need your money." Daniel snapped. "This isn't about money," Ethan said quietly. His eyes flicked toward Mason, who had come into view behind his father. "This is about gratitude, and perhaps a broken bar, something more." Scene 5. Worlds collide. Against his better judgment, Daniel agreed to a single dinner. For Mason's sake, if nothing else. Ethan had insisted, not as a payment, but as a gesture of thanks. The evening was strange. Daniel, used to grease-stained shirts and microwaved meals, found himself sitting in Ethan's glass-walled penthouse, the city glowing beneath them. Leela and Mason bonded instantly, laughing over board games on the floor while the fathers sat across the table.